Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. So let's take a look at this update that we've got about the postponement of the trial for Do Kwon specifically and TFL and all of those sort of things that come underneath it. But this sort of news is actually really good if we take it for face value, because it extends where this pain's possibly going to land. And there's going to be some sort of backlash. There's going to be something that bounces back, and we're probably going to have to make some adjustments. So as I was mentioning in my previous video, right, about the jails out there, it's not a good situation. So he probably wants to get out of there as soon as possible. But the SEC agreeing to postpone it shows that he is probably going to the United States to be put on trial and held accountable for his actions. Now, the SEC did release a statement last year, which is, it covers the basis of everything, but there are documents. And what I'm going to do is in this video, leave the links to these documents for you to go through if you want to go through and have a deeper dive into them. But what I want to outline here is the confidentiality agreement that's being tailored into this whole sort of pre-trial phase hearing. And I don't really like it for the specific fact that I don't want to see anything buried. I want to see the people who are responsible for this held accountable. It's so important for the crypto sphere as a whole that we know who is responsible for this, so we can all understand the situation better in the future and we don't fall victim to these kind of pyramid schemes at any point again. And it's all about, right, showing that people are being held accountable. Crypto is safe, and no matter what you do, it's all trackable. And this is something that I find quite interesting in another one of these documents. I don't have it up at the moment, but they actually reference governance proposals because they're there. That the whole thing with blockchain technology is it's permanent. It's all written into the blockchain. You can't get rid of it. Once it's there forever. It can be pulled back up, and they are pulling governance votes back up, and they're bringing all of that into this pre-trial phase hearing. Now, with all of this confidentiality agreement being said, right, there's so any person subject to this order who receives from any other person any discovery materials, i.e. information of any kind provided in the course of the discovery in this action that is designated as confidential pursuant to the terms of this order, shall not disclose such confidential discovery materials to anyone else except as expressly permitted hereunder. Now, that is a very interesting statement. And like I said, I don't really like this. So hopefully the whole hearing itself is public and it's all in the public domain, because like I said, we want to know who's responsible for this. And there's a lot to take in when you look at these documents. There's a few of them floating about, but one of these documents specifically goes through and it mentions UST, it mentions Luna, it mentions Mirror Protocol, it mentions Anchor Protocol, it mentions Chai, it mentions Jump, and it mentions a lot of different tokens that were all used to finally build up the Luna and UST ecosystem. And there's so many things that are going to be going into this, and all of the undisputed facts that are going to need to be proven or disproven. This isn't going to be like the SEC XRP court case. This thing's going to go on for some time unless DK just submits to it and he more or less becomes compliant with them, right? And this is the risk that I've been kind of putting forward, is why is he not going to try save his own skin at the moment, specifically with him traveling on false documents, trying to outrun this thing? What is not off the table, so to speak, for this guy? Where is he willing to stop, and who is he willing to throw under the bus in order to save his own skin? So I think this is going to be really interesting, and that's why I'm sort of getting this update out there, because inherently these risks are there. Anyone ignoring them, and this is kind of the thing that I see with this whole USTC repeg kind of situation, that all of these people are just simply ignoring the official statements, documents, and all of the actual things that is factual information. They're just ignoring it and going ahead saying, yeah, well, we're continuing working on it. But the issue is, right, is this is going to have a huge amount of backlash. And if they're bringing up governance proposals for USTC prior, what's to say they aren't going to do it now? What's to say they won't use all of this in a court case to say, well, look, he didn't even shut it down. He just allowed it to continue. He allowed this other community to continue, and they knew what they were doing. And before we know it, right, they're starting to drag people in, and a lot of people have doxed themselves that are to do with USTC. And ultimately you can be tracked. The SEC has substantial reach out there. So there are all of these different risks. So with this postponement to April, I think it's better for us because eventually a fork is going to appear in the road, and how we manage the route towards this fork is going to be very important for our ecosystem, because if worse comes to worse and you take everything for its worst situation, right, there is a way for LUNC to survive with a rebrand, a rename. There's loads of different routes it can take to make itself more available to that fork in the road. And by availability, I mean not shutting down loads of different, leaving all of these different options open. But the only way to do that is to prepare and understand what's going on. So like I said, I'm going to leave links to these documents, which are official documents. I'll try find that third document, which brings in a lot of other stuff. But these are a really good read to go through and sort of understand how this is all going to pan out. And the fact that when I look at different things that are going on, you've got so many people that are involved in this, and South Korea has been preventing those people from leaving the country. And what I think is the likelihood is they're probably going to get extradited too. And you're going to see a lot of people appear in this court case in the same manner that we saw everything to. So like FTX was in the Bahamas, right? Think about that. He was in the Bahamas. They were all living in an apartment, sniffing amphetamines and living on amphetamine. And if you don't think this is true, right, you can go and you can look at FTX's partner with bunny fingers. And she actually tweeted about how bleak normal life is without amphetamines, and how amphetamines, they get so much stuff done. And it's just like all of this stuff gets dragged out in court. We know this because it got dragged out in court. And it's once this all starts to unravel and begin, it's not something we can control. All we can do is damage control ourselves as best as we can. And like with everybody bickering and stuff on chain, I think there's just so many more serious issues developing outside that a lot of people are ignoring. So I think we need to pay more attention to this. I'm going to keep covering it, any updates that get put forward about DK, because the likelihood is he could get extradited before April, right? If they're postponing the trial till April, they still need to get him extradited before then to have that all sort of land at that time. But like I said, halving lands around then. So this is probably going to work out for us in the long run, because the likelihood is the big bull run happens within 12 months of the halving event. We've shown this in a previous video. You can go and check that out on the channel, which is what to expect from the BTC halving event. A really good listen, so do go and check that video out too. But folks, that's really all I've got for you on this one. You know, like, comment, subscribe, those things happen. Consider subscribing to the Patreon. Consider delegating LUNC with us. We have an auto compounding system of our own at hccfactory.com. You can utilize and use that there in privacy, private, away from all of the other bulked websites out there. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.